But the Celtics actually have gotten 2 wins over the course of the last couple of days. Here's Bob Cousy on J.J. Redick.
People with less talent will always try to make a name for themselves by criticizing other people and hopefully getting some attention and perhaps increasing their credibility. So when you respond to something like this, you play into their hands. I won't do that, but I will defend the firemen and the plumbers that he referenced, and I'll just give you a few of their names of these firemen that I played with and against during those years. How about Bill Russell, the aforementioned, not too bad a player. Wilt Chamberlain, remember that guy? He wasn't bad.
I recall.
I guess he must have fought fires as well, but in any event, Wilt Chamberlain, still the best, in my judgment, small forward that ever played the game. A guy named Elgin Baylor. A couple of point guards that weren't too shabby. My colleague who also had an award created, a guy named Oscar Robertson, who was pound for pound the best player perhaps in the game. Jerry West wasn't too shabby. The guys on our team, Sam and Casey Jones, a guy named Hondo Havlicek wasn't too bad. Tom Heinsohn, Frank Ramsey, George Mikan, Bob Pettit. How I could go on and on. And we must have had the best firemen and plumbers on the planet at the time. So, and I was very proud to play with all of them.
Unless you've been under a rock, you probably know that this stems from J.J. Redick in defense of Chris Paul, going at Mike Mad Dog Russo on some show and saying that back in Bob Cousy's day, Bob Cousy was playing against plumbers and firemen. This happened a couple of weeks ago. Cousy clapped back, took his sweet time and clapped back something serious on Sirius XM radio. Michael, I've seen some footage of Bob Cousy. I don't ever recall seeing Bob Cousy dunk. Okay? Bob Cousy just yammed it on J.J. Redick and anybody else who wants to disrespect players from back in the day. My favorite part is I'm not going to give this any more oxygen. I'm not giving him the attention he deserves, so I'm not going to respond. However, here go them receipts.
Hey, listen. And first of all, I'm biased on a couple of counts.
I mean, how many times you met Bob Cousy? I'm about to say you had to have encountered Bob Cousy countless times, right?
Have had lots of conversations with Cousy. I spent a lot of time with him. He is, as you can tell, like Cousy's been around for a long time, sharp as a tack still. And, he did TV. He did TV for a long time, up until about 10 years ago. He was in a 3-man booth with Tommy Heinsohn, rest in peace. So Heinsohn, Cousy, and those guys, see, I have so much respect. This is why I say I'm biased. One, I enjoy conversations with them when I was covering the beat. Two, those guys taught me so much. They allowed me to put the league that I saw into context because their recall and their scouting reports on the players that they played with and played against just helped me bring them to life. And, in addition to it's like you can watch the videos anywhere. You can watch the 1968 NBA Finals right now if you wanted to. But their recall of it kind of brings context to what you see in the video. So they tell you stories from behind the scenes. They tell you like how they get into a guy's head, and rivalries, all kinds of stuff. And so I'm always disappointed when I hear people talk like this about players before their time. Because I think whether it's basketball or broadcasting or anything, you don't really love your industry. You don't really love or understand what you're doing unless you understand how you got there. So yes, players today are more athletic than they were in 1957. No kidding.
Right.
Yes, that's true. The league is bigger now than it was. It would be hard
faster,
for the Celtics or anybody else. To win 8 straight championships like they did and to win 11
Right.
and 13, that's not going to happen
It's a
anymore.
global
different
game.
era.
It wasn't a global game. It's a completely
Right.
integrated game. It's an international game. You can say that you prefer Chris Paul, and we never talked about this because we were never going to talk about it for reasons that are understood and therefore need not be spoken. But nonetheless,
Right.
you could say that today's player is more advanced and arguably more skilled across the board than yesterday's player without disrespecting and diminishing it. And listen, I'm no stranger to hyperbole. I get it. But to reduce yesterday's greats, many of whom, if you took them in a time capsule, they walked through a Doctor Strange portal and walked into 2022, they find a way to get buckets. They find a way to win championships.
Right.
They find a way to compete. They'd evolve, right? If you can say that by and large today's player is better, or that Chris Paul is better than Bob Cousy for whatever reason, without suggesting that those are just a bunch of scrubs coming off the street
come
who
on.
had day jobs or had jobs on the side to feed the family because the NBA business wasn't booming back then.
And a lot of them did. I mean, I really do think, I think it's so disrespectful and so ignorant to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did. A lot of them did have day jobs, which is a testament to some of the things they were
had
able to do. They were
Elgin Baylor went
they
to
were
war.
taking they were taking the trains. They were taking trains to some of these outposts.
So
they
that you didn't have
breakfast.
to.
Yeah, exactly. They built the league. So Bob Cousy is playing in a league that's not even 10 years old and becoming one of its first stars. So he's one of the first superstars in the league. Tommy Heinsohn and Oscar Robertson, who Bob Cousy mentioned, sat there in Boston in 1964 at an all-star game and said, we're not going to play. I know you got cameras out here. We're not going to play until you agree to our deals. That formed the basis of what today's Players Association is. So it's just disrespectful to just look at these guys like they didn't have value. They had value on the court and off the court. That's a joke.
Amen.
That's a joke. He
Amen.
should just retract that. Retract that. Bring that back.
Amen. But thankfully, it got Bob Cousy to come back in defense of his generation. That was priceless.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.